How did your parents invade your privacy? My father started recording our family dinners for his Authentic Parenting podcast without telling us, then installed hidden microphones throughout our house to broadcast our private conversations to paying subscribers. Dad started the podcast claiming he wanted to help other parents by sharing real family dynamics. At first, he'd just take notes during dinner and talk about general parenting challenges without naming us. He said it was therapeutic for him and helpful for his small audience of other divorced dads. Mom had left years ago, and he acted like the podcast filled that void. Then he bought a professional microphone and started placing it on the dinner table. Just pretend it's not there, he said. I want to capture authentic family moments. My younger brother and I felt weird, but Dad seemed happier than he'd been in months. He said the podcast gave him purpose. We could hear him late at night editing audio and adding commentary about our conversations. Dinner was just the beginning. He'd leave his phone recording when he drove us to school, capturing our morning complaints and sibling arguments. He installed a smart speaker in the living room, for convenience, but I noticed it was always listening. When I confronted him, he said he only used snippets and changed our names. But I recognized our exact conversations in his episodes, just with fake names instead of our real ones. I started finding tiny microphones everywhere, inside lampshades, behind picture frames, even in the bathroom vent. When I showed him one, he got defensive. Other parents need to hear real families, he said, not the fake perfect ones on social media. He claimed we were helping thousands of struggling parents by being honest, but this level of surveillance felt violating and wrong. My brother found Dad's laptop open and discovered the truth. The podcast had a paid subscriber tier where people could access unedited family recordings for $40 a month. Hours of our private conversations, our fights, our breakdowns, even phone calls with friends. The subscriber list had over 200 names. Dad was making $8,000 a month selling our privacy. Some subscribers left comments requesting more content from the daughter that made my skin crawl. I tried telling my school counselor, but Dad had anticipated that. He showed her release forms he'd forged with my signature, plus edited clips making it sound like I supported the project. Then I got my college acceptance letter. I was telling my best friend on the phone, crying with joy about finally escaping. 20 minutes later, Dad posted a special episode featuring our call. Subscribers were commenting on my college choice, my financial aid details, even my emotional vulnerability. One user said he couldn't wait to hear how I handled being away from home. Another asked if Dad would install microphones in my dorm room. I confronted Dad that night and demanded he delete everything. He laughed and showed me the contract he'd signed with a podcast network. They owned all our recordings now and plan to release them as a serialized audio drama. You'll get over it, he said. Besides, your college is expensive, and this is how we're paying for it. He'd already spent my college fund and was using the podcast income for tuition. If I wanted to go to school, I had to keep performing for strangers. That's when I noticed something worse on his laptop. A folder labeled Visual Content Trials. Inside were test videos from hidden cameras I hadn't found yet. My bedroom, the bathroom, even changing areas. Time-stamped from the last month. He wasn't just recording audio anymore. The file names had prices next to them. He was testing the market for video content, seeing what people would pay to watch us. I grabbed the laptop and ran to my room, locking the door behind me. Dad pounded on it, demanding I return his property. As I scrolled through the files, I found contracts with usernames I recognized from the comments. Private deals for specific content. One subscriber had paid $300 for morning routine footage. Another wanted authentic teenage emotional breakdowns. The requests got more specific and disturbing the deeper I looked. At the bottom of the folder was a contract template dated for tomorrow. The buyer's username was one I'd seen commenting on every episode about me. The contract was for exclusive in-person meet and greet at our house while Dad was conveniently traveling for a podcast conference. The amount was $5,000. Dad had already signed it. My hands shook